Hey there! Did you know that over 70% of developers in a private survey said that they were feeling overwhelmed while learning to code? Yeah, it's a staggering number. But you are right here and you're about to learn what you can do not to be in that situation. So, if you would like to learn more about this, please make yourself comfortable and enjoy the video. Because today we will be talking about common pitfalls that many people fall into while learning to code. Understanding these pitfalls is crucial because if you don't understand them and don't know about them, you will probably end up feeling frustrated or overwhelmed when becoming a true professional in the world of programming. Greetings, dear friends, fellow programmers, and those aspiring to be. Welcome back to Marco Code Academy, a place where we are learning constantly and growing as professionals, one video at a time. So, what is the central issue here that we are working with? Well, from my experience, and I've had quite a bit of it, I've heard that mostly people tend to focus in their beginnings, me included, on the syntax of programming languages. They think that they can just memorize the syntax, and when they start working, they'll be just able to pull it out of their brain and apply it in action, and everything will work like a magic. But, of course, things are not that simple in real life. By taking that road, you will end up having a lot of issues with problem solving, with architecture and design of your solution, with clean code practices, and the quality of your code will be poor. Just poor because when you learn to code and you just learn the syntax, you know how to push and throw a lot of words and keywords at the compiler, and it will do what you want it to do. But when you need to change something or maintain or extend, you, my friend, will be in a lot of trouble. Basically, when you are learning just the syntax, you are missing out on what programming is all about. And it is all about solving problems and designing solutions. And while we're on the subject, let me share my personal, very embarrassing story that I managed to go through when I was just getting started as a programmer. When I was preparing for my first job, I spent over 7 months only focusing on learning to code. I was working day and night on learning syntax for Java and C# because in the beginning I was not able to decide which road to take. And also I was building games, I was trying to learn stuff. Finally, after more than 7 months, I landed my first job and I started working. I managed to find out that my senior colleague, who was my tutor at the time, had more than 10 times the salary that I had at that moment. And in my mind, I was like, what the hell? He knows exactly the same syntax that I know. Why is he getting paid so much more than I am? Well, I'm able to build everything that he is, and why would he get paid so much more? I had no idea how wrong I was at that moment. The difference in pay between me and my colleague that I mentioned was not high enough. It was supposed to be even higher than that. But the company had to pay me the minimal amount that I needed to survive. So they did. But when you take a look at my performance and delivery, it was basically non-existent because the only thing that I really managed to do that contributed to company was manage to solve a few bugs. Everything else was basically just the company investing in me and my growth because I knew nothing. I was not able to design a proper solution. I was not able to build something that's really reliable, scalable, maintainable, and also performant. So my code was pretty much useless. And as I grew as a programmer and collected more and more experience and knowledge, things started becoming more and more clear to me. And that is where I was starting to feel more and more cringe about the situation that I just shared with you. Because I knew how dumb I was and how much I lacked in actual reality when it comes to my actual competency and capability to deliver something to the company. So please do not be that type of person when you get your first job. When you keep learning and growing, and you learn the syntax of a language and you have built something of your own, trust me when I say this, you are still far from done on your learning journey. Alright, let's get straight to it. The biggest mistake that I see so often, and I'm also one of the people included in this set of people that I'm talking about, is that we all want to learn things as quickly as possible. So why not pick and learn multiple languages at the same time so we would improve our time needed to become great at programming and land our first job or second job or third as quickly as possible? Well, I know it sounds tempting, but that's not how things work in real life. Now, I get it. There is so much stuff out there that you can pick from and learn, and why not do multiple things at the same time? That way, you'll be more versatile, right? Well, not exactly. When you're learning multiple languages at the same time, you're basically preventing yourself from becoming a true master of a single language. And in the beginning, I really think that is the best approach you can take. Pick one language, stick to it, and master it and learn all the best practices, learn all the design patterns, all the architecture that you need to know in order to utilize that language as a true master of your craft. And once you manage to achieve that level, then you can select as many languages as you like. You will have a solid base that you can build on top of and include additional languages over time as much as you like. But initially, I think it would be a very poor idea to learn multiple languages at the same time. Now, my story about this. When I was getting started and preparing for my first job, I was not able to decide whether I want to go with Java or C#. Luckily, those two languages are fairly similar, but still the syntax can be very different in certain situations. And I couldn't decide for the life of me which language should I pick and stick with it, because I was trying to be flexible, and when I got invited to a certain interview for some company that was using Java, I would prepare for Java in that period. When I would be invited on the interview for C#, then I would pull out courses and books about C# and prepare for that interview. And until the moment when I said, okay, it was enough, I will no longer learn Java, I'll stick to C#, I was unable to land my first job. Because I was constantly going back and forth, investing so much time in reminding myself about the stuff that I learned before, because I was constantly switching what I was learning, and it was really difficult to keep things in my head for both languages, even more so because I didn't know anything with a solid understanding and the true core behaviors of the language. Next up is the fact that I see so many people invest so much time and effort into learning the theoretical part, the syntax, and how things work in a certain language, and not invest nearly enough time into putting the stuff they learned into action. Do not get me wrong. You definitely should be reading about theoretical stuff and how mechanisms work for that particular language, but what I'm saying is that you should also pay enough attention to the practical, actionable stuff for that language. Do you know that episode of Big Bang Theory where Sheldon says that he can swim because he saw a lot of videos online while learning how to swim? Well, if you think that he can really swim, in that case, okay, just learn theory about languages, but I do not think he was able to swim at that point. So neither will you be able to be a great developer by just reading the syntax and how things work for that particular language without actually doing stuff with it. Start small, build projects, build something that you are passionate about, and make yourself tiny goals that you will be checking in the end of the day or week or month, and basically you will feel motivated, you will not feel depressed because you feel like you're stationary, you're not progressing enough. Like this, you will have a proof that you've learned something and applied it in action. It will feel a lot better, trust me. The more you code, the more you will understand the actual language. And of course, the more aha moments you will have the more satisfying and more confident you will feel. And a great example of this was when I was learning SQL. And just to be clear, I was learning SQL for about 4 times so far. In the past 8 years, I've learned SQL 4 times. And I still pretty much suck at it. So why is that the case? Well, because I really wanted to learn SQL, because it's something that every good developer should do. But what the issue was, is the fact that I was using ORMs that basically allow you not having to write any SQL if you're any good with ORMs. Even more so when you're using Dapper. And basically, I would invest a few days or weeks into learning SQL, and I would gain a lot of theoretical knowledge about concepts and syntax, and then I would not apply it in action because I didn't use it in my day-to-day life. So what happened? I would forget everything that I learned within a few months from that time. And when I needed SQL again, I would have to invest days into learning it and reminding myself about all the stuff that I learned before. And as I said, without joking or over-exaggerating, I really did this for at least 4 times. And I still would not say that I'm great at SQL, because I do not use it enough, I do not do actionable stuff with it enough to be a true SQL master. What can I say? ORMs are a blessing and a curse. So, next time when you pick something to learn, please have in mind that you must apply it in action if you want to be really good at it. It's really easy to get excited about the latest framework or a tool and to start learning it and completely neglect the basics of programming. That way, you will never become a solid developer. Your actual value on the market will never be on the highest level, because people who are on the highest level understand the core behaviors, understand how things work. They know the core patterns, they know the behaviors, they know the architectures, they know how to choose what is the best solution for a problem. And that cannot be learned by just learning a few languages. That requires years and hard work in the area of mastering concepts. Not concrete stuff, but concepts, general stuff. You can think of it as building a house on non-existing foundation. The house will look something like this. Yeah, it's not a very good house. And your knowledge of programming will not be so great as well. So what you should take out of this is, please don't be one of the people who are just going to focus on the framework or technology. Please first master the basics and then progress to learning as many languages as you like. Remember my story about my first job and my thinking, I know the syntax, I should be paid as a senior developer. It says a lot about this. Alright, to wrap things up, in this lesson and in this video, we talked about ways how you can ensure that you will not fall into common pitfalls when learning and becoming a programmer. If you follow these tips, I'm sure you will be an amazing developer. But I have something very nice in store for you, and that is the fact that in the upcoming video dedicated to general topics of programming, I will keep going with this topic. I will expand on our current list with additional points. So, if you would like to not miss it, please feel free to subscribe to the channel and turn the notifications on. And the link to the upcoming video, if it is out at this point, is right here. And also, if you have some spare time, please invest a minute or so to leave a comment down below and share with us your experiences of learning to code. Maybe I've missed something and your experience can push me in the right direction to do something nice for you guys. So, until the next video, thank you for watching and have an amazing day. Happy coding!